Hi everyone, I'm Nimrod from Engini, and in this video we're going to learn about trigger and action activity types and what is the difference between the two. If you're finding us for the first time, don't forget to hit the subscribe button right below to stay up to date with all the videos that we'll upload. Okay, let's start. Like most of things in life, a business process also has a beginning, a middle, and an ending. A business process always starts with a trigger. For those of you that hasn't yet made the connection between triggers and business processes, think of a business process as a relay running race. The race starts when the starter shoots his gun, hence using the word trigger. Immediately after they hear the starter's gun, the runners start their action, which is running, or in our case, the first activity of type action starts their process, hence using the word action. When the first leg runner completes his leg, he or she passes the baton to the next leg runner, and so on until all the race legs are completed. In our case, when an action activity finishes their process, the business process moves on to the next action type activity in line. Now, after seeing the resemblance between a relay race to a business process, let's see how it manifests itself in Engini. To do so, we will build a simple workflow using Engini. Moving on to my laptop, after signing into Engini, we'll go to the Workflows page, click on the Add Workflow button, and choose the Create Your Own option. Like all business processes, this workflow will also start with a trigger. For our trigger, we will choose the Engini software, and we'll choose the Schedule Trigger type. We will set the starting date for today at midnight, which is already gone, and we'll choose we'll set it to repeat every 2 minutes. We can also see the next runtime down below here. Now we'll name the workflow, and we'll hit on the save button to save the workflow. After the trigger, all the other activities will be of type action. For the second activity, we will choose to initialize a variable. To do so, we will choose Engini software, and we'll choose the initialize variable activity. We will name it dummy array, set its type to an array, and we will also initialize its value to an array of numbers from 1 to 5. Let's hit the save. For the third activity in this workflow, we will also choose initialize a variable, but this time we will initialize a string type variable. We will name it dummy string, choose its type to string, and we won't set its initial value because we will set its value later on inside the for each loop. Let's hit the save. The fourth activity will be of type for each loop. So let's add it. We'll choose Engini software, choose a for each loop. Now to define a for each loop, we need to set the data list that it will iterate on top. For this workflow, we will set it for the dummy array that we initialized earlier. And now, inside the loop, we would like to append to the dummy string for each number the equivalent of it in name. So for 1, we will add to the string ONE, and for 2, we will add TWO, and so on until the for each loop ends iterating on the dummy array. So what we will do, we will choose Engini software, and we'll choose not set variable, but append to string variable. We use append so that for each iteration, the added value will be added in the end of the current string and won't overwrite it with the new value. So from the variable list, we will choose the dummy string. And now, we don't just want to add the current value, but we will also want to add 1 character spacing between each word. So we will start it with using the concat function. So we'll go to functions, choose the concat. Now inside the concat function, we would use a switch that will compare each iteration value and will give us the equivalent of it in its name. So let's see how we do that. So we'll compare the value in the dummy array, and let's say if it's 1, we'll add 1, and for 2, we'll add 2, and so on. Let me just finish here. And in the end of it, in the concat function, we would like to add 1 character spacing. So to do so, we will just add quotation marks with space between them, like this. Now let's save this workflow. Now let's see one of the history runs log to see the results. To do that, we'll go backwards, and now we get our workflow dashboard. And let's just go to the last history run. We'll click on details. Now, as you can see, all activities ran successfully, starting from the trigger to the dummy array initialization, moving on to the dummy string initialization, and inside the for each loop, we are able to see how for each iteration it added the current number in words. So for the first iteration it added 1, for the second iteration it added 2, 3, 4, 5, and as you can also see, there is 1 character spacing between each word, just like we defined it in the workflow. That's it, we're done. Now I think we achieved our goal and successfully understood what are triggers and actions, and also saw how it manifests in Engini. We would love to hear from you, so let's continue the conversation in the comments below. Until then, see you in the next video.